Before the story begins, imagine this for a moment. You rush your roommate to urgent care because she's pale, shaking, and can barely stand. You're filling out paperwork as fast as you can, trying not to panic. Then your eyes accidentally land on one small box on the form labeled Relationship to Patient. She didn't write friend. She didn't write roommate. She wrote one word that completely changed the way I saw our entire relationship. If you've ever wondered how one act of kindness can quietly save a life, then stay with me. This story might remind you that family isn't always the people you're born with. Before we begin, welcome to Heartline Stories, where every story reminds us that kindness still exists in this world. If stories like this touch your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more inspiring stories with people who need them. I met Emma 3 years ago through an online housing ad in Chicago. We were complete strangers. I needed a roommate because rent had become impossible to afford after my divorce. She had just started her first teaching job and needed somewhere close to school. At first, we were simply polite roommates. We shared the kitchen, split the bills, and occasionally watched a movie together. We lived separate lives. But life has a strange way of bringing people together. A few months after moving in, my father passed away. I tried to hide my grief, but Emma noticed. One evening I came home exhausted after dealing with funeral arrangements. I found homemade soup waiting on the stove and a handwritten note beside it. You don't have to talk. Just eat something. I'm here if you need me. She never asked uncomfortable questions. She simply stayed nearby whenever I needed someone. That small act of kindness became the beginning of an unexpected friendship. As time passed, we celebrated birthdays together, cooked dinner on weekends, and laughed over terrible reality TV shows. She became the person who reminded me to take breaks from work. I became the one who fixed things around the apartment and made sure she never walked home alone after late school events. Still, we always called each other roommates. One rainy Tuesday morning, everything changed. Emma called me from her classroom. Her voice sounded weak. I don't feel right, she whispered. Within minutes, the school nurse called again. I think someone should take her to urgent care. I left work immediately. When I arrived, Emma looked unusually pale. She tried to smile but nearly collapsed while walking to my car. During the drive, she kept apologizing. I'm sorry for ruining your day. I laughed softly. You've listened to me cry over burned pancakes. You think this is ruining my day? She smiled for just a second. When we reached the urgent care clinic, the receptionist handed me a clipboard. Emma was too dizzy to fill out the paperwork herself. I completed most of it while the nurse checked her temperature. Then I reached the emergency contact section. Emma gently took the clipboard back. I'll finish this part. I wasn't paying attention until she handed it back. That's when I accidentally noticed the relationship box. Next to my name she had written family. I stared at the paper. There was no hesitation in her handwriting. No crossed out words. Just one simple answer. Family. I looked at Emma. She avoided my eyes, suddenly embarrassed. I know we're technically roommates, she whispered. But, you've been there every time I've needed someone. I don't really have anyone else. Those words hit harder than I expected. I realized I had spent years thinking family was something you were born into. Emma quietly showed me that family can also be someone who chooses to stay. The doctor soon returned with good news. Emma had a severe infection and extreme dehydration. It looked frightening, but with medication and rest, she would recover completely. Relief washed over both of us. On the drive home, neither of us talked much. Sometimes silence says everything. That evening I cooked her favorite chicken noodle soup while she rested on the couch. Halfway through dinner I placed a small folded piece of paper beside her bowl. She opened it slowly. Inside I had written, "Emergency contact." Below it I had signed my name. Under relationship I wrote exactly one word. Family. Emma looked up with tears in her eyes. Neither of us said anything. We simply hugged. Months passed. Life returned to normal. Or maybe it became something even better. We started creating little traditions. Sunday pancakes. Friday movie nights. Holiday dinners with neighbors who had nowhere else to go. Before long, our apartment became the place where lonely people somehow ended up. A college student who couldn't afford to travel home for Thanksgiving. An elderly neighbor whose children lived across the country. A newly divorced coworker spending Christmas alone. Every extra chair around our table eventually became occupied. Emma often smiled and said, "The family just keeps getting bigger." She was right. One winter afternoon, our elderly neighbor Mrs. Jenkins quietly told me something I never forgot. "I've lived beside many people over the years," she said. "But this building feels different because of you too. You remind people they matter." That sentence stayed with me. Not because we had done anything extraordinary, but because kindness spreads. One warm meal becomes another. One helping hand inspires someone else to help. One person who feels included begins including others. Years later, Emma married a wonderful man named Daniel. When the officiant asked who would give her away, she looked directly at me. "You will." I froze. "I can't." She smiled. "You already have." After the ceremony, someone asked how we were related. Emma answered without missing a beat. "He's my family." No explanations. No long story. Just the truth. Looking back now, I realize the most important relationships in life aren't always defined by blood, marriage, or legal documents. Sometimes they're defined by late-night conversations, homemade soup, shared rent, quiet support, and showing up when someone needs you most. Kindness has a way of turning strangers into friends. Friends into family. And ordinary moments into memories that last forever. So if someone in your life has been standing beside you through the difficult days, don't wait for the perfect moment to tell them how much they mean to you. A simple act of kindness today could become someone's greatest source of hope tomorrow. Because in the end, family isn't always the people we grow up with. Sometimes, family is simply the person who chooses to stay. And sometimes, one word written on a medical form is enough to remind us that love, kindness, and compassion can create the strongest family of all. If this story touched your heart, remember to like this video, subscribe to Heartline Stories, and share it with someone who has become family through kindness rather than blood. Until next time, keep spreading kindness, because you never know whose life you might change.